numbers next to cholesterol and triglycerides. What does all that stuff actually mean? Well, today we are going to decode that lipid profile for you. See, it's not just a boring list of data. You gotta think of it more like a live report from a story that's happening inside your body right now. So let's dive in and see what's going on. And honestly, the best way to wrap your head around it is with a simple analogy. It's a classic story, really, a battle between the good guys and the bad guys. Think police versus thieves. And the whole thing is playing out on the highways inside your veins. Okay, so before we meet the players, we need to set the scene. Let's talk about the battlefield itself, this internal highway system where all the action is going down. So what is a lipid profile, technically? It's pretty simple. It's a blood test that measures the amount of fats, or lipids, that are floating around in your blood. And its main job? To help figure out your risk for things like heart disease and strokes. You can think of it as the official scorecard for this whole battle we're talking about.
All right, scene set. Now it's time to meet the main characters in this whole drama, the police and the thieves.
And this really breaks it down perfectly. You've got two main players here. On one side, we have HDL, that's the good cholesterol. These are our police, right? They're the good guys, patrolling your arteries, cleaning up messes. Then, on the other side, you've got LDL, the bad cholesterol. And yeah, you guessed it, these are the thieves, just dropping junk everywhere that clogs things up.
So let's zoom in on our heroes, the HDL. HDL stands for high-density lipoprotein, and you can just think of it as your body's internal cleanup crew. It's constantly moving through your bloodstream, grabbing any extra cholesterol that's just lying around, and taking it straight to the liver to be thrown out. So obviously, more HDL is a good thing. It's like having more cops on the beat. Now here's the key thing to remember with HDL. Higher is always better. You want more of the good guys, right? So for men, the goal is to be at least 40. For women, it's a little higher, at least 50. But the real sweet spot, where you're getting some serious protection, that's 60 or more. That is what a well-policed highway looks like. Okay, and now for the villain of our story, LDL, which is low-density lipoprotein. This is the thief. And instead of cleaning things up, its whole job is to be messy. It drops off its cholesterol cargo right inside your artery walls. And over time, all that dropped cargo builds up into this hard gunk called plaque. And that plaque is what narrows the highway, which can eventually lead to a heart attack or a stroke. So with LDL, it's the complete opposite of HDL. The goal is super simple. You want this number to be low. For most people, the ideal target is to get it under 100. It just makes sense, right? Fewer thieves means less crime. But, and this is a really important but, that magic number of 100 isn't the goal for everyone. You know, depending on your own health history and risk factors, your doctor might say, nope, we need to be even tougher. So for someone who's already considered high risk for heart disease, that target plummets to less than 70. And for someone at very high risk, like say they've already had a heart attack, the goal is to crush that LDL number down below 55. It's kind of like putting the entire city on lockdown just to stop the thieves. All right, so we've met the main hero and villain. But let's look at the full scoreboard, because HDL and LDL aren't the only numbers on that lab report. There are a couple of other supporting characters we need to talk about. First up, you're going to see total cholesterol. And just like it sounds, it's the grand total of all the cholesterol in your blood. The good, the bad, all of it. But honestly, on its own, this number doesn't tell you much. It's like knowing the total crime rate in a city. That doesn't really tell you if the police are actually winning the fight, does it? Yeah, the general rule of thumb is to keep your total cholesterol under 200. But you always have to remember, it's that breakdown, the ratio of good HDL cops to bad LDL thieves, that tells you the real story. And then we have triglycerides. A good way to think of these is like extra baggage or junk just left all over the highway. They're another type of fat that comes from the food we eat. And while they aren't exactly thieves, having too much of this clutter around can definitely cause traffic jams and ramp up your overall risk. So ideally, you want your triglycerides to be under 150. But just look at what's considered very high. We're talking 500 or more. Whoa. At those kinds of levels, the risk for totally different problems like pancreatitis just skyrockets. It's a huge red flag that your internal highway is getting seriously, seriously clogged. Okay, want to hear some insider info, a little behind the scenes look? Let's talk about how the lab actually comes up with these numbers, because it's not always as simple as you might think.
You know how your doctor always tells you to fast before the test? No food, no drink? Have you ever wondered why? It's a super common question. And believe me, there's a really good reason for it. Okay, so here's the logic. First, when you eat a meal, especially a fatty one, your triglyceride levels shoot up for a little while. That's normal. But, and this is the second part, those triglycerides are used to calculate your other numbers. So that temporary spike can totally skew the results, messing up your LDL reading in particular. By fasting for about 8 to 12 hours, you're giving the lab a clean baseline look at what's really going on in there. And check this out. Here's the secret formula they use. Most of the time, your LDL number isn't even measured directly. Nope, it's calculated using a formula called the Friede-Wald equation. The lab just takes your total cholesterol, subtracts your HDL, and then subtracts your triglycerides divided by 5. Pretty cool, huh? But, of course, there's a catch. This handy little formula, it kind of falls apart when your triglycerides are super high, like over 400. The math just isn't reliable at that point. So in those situations, the lab has to ditch the formula and do a different, more direct, and more expensive test to get an accurate LDL reading. Okay, so after all this intel, all this behind-the-scenes info, what's the big takeaway for your health? What does it all mean for you? How do you make sure the police are winning this battle?
You know, it really all boils down to this one simple idea: tip the balance of power. The whole game is about doing everything you can, whether it's through diet, exercise, maybe medication, to bring down the number of LDL thieves and at the same time, boost the number of HDL police. That, right there, is the fundamental strategy. That's how you keep those highways clean and clear. At the end of the day, that lab report, it's your personal intelligence briefing. It gives you the full layout of the battlefield. So the final question really isn't for me to answer, it's for you. Now that you have the intel, what's your strategy going to be?
Like, share, and subscribe.